Monday. Happy fucking Monday. But we finna get this stream. I've been seeing some really egregious shit on YouTube and TikTok. Some funny shit, some crazy shit. I just wanna, give my little thoughts and takes because I couldn't be bothered to make videos or separate videos on all of them because some of this shit should just be self-explanatory. So I'm gonna throw it all in one stream. But do peep, go check out the TikTok at CJ the Savior. I do got a lot of shit coming, a lot of clips, a lot of content. Got a lot of shit in my save folder that I'm gonna be uploading over the next couple days. So stay tuned for that shit. And then I'm doing a stream now, and then another stream. I'm gonna be streaming Red Dead later tonight around 9. So check out YouTube or check out Twitch. Go peep my Twitch at Demona Savior. I'm gonna be streaming Red Dead later today, and then probably gonna do the same thing tomorrow. I'm gonna do a 10 o'clock stream, 9 p.m. stream with a lot of shit on the way. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into this. Let's get into some of these videos.
Debate going on yesterday, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan versus Super Saiyan Kaba, and people are saying Gohan bodies. Bro, y'all gotta be slow, because there's no way that Gohan beats Kaba. Famous Vegeta says right here, in your normal state, I would say you're about as strong as myself. And
people gotta stop saying, like, I've been seeing that shit everywhere. I'm not gonna lie. Like, almost every video I look at, it's niggas, the whole comment section and the creators saying that Kaba's losing, Gohan doing it. Gohan ain't doing shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, he can't, he won't, he ain't doing shit. And that's me being honest, me being genuine. I don't know what you want to call it. But like, he's not beating him at all. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to show you. Because this says it all. And like, if you take the Dragon Ball Super anime, this statement still exists in the anime. I could pull it up in it. But like, this statement does exist in the anime. So when you take the anime into account, it's actually stated that Goku absorbed Super Saiyan God to his base. We know Vegeta, so base Goku, and from every point on, which includes the Universe 7 tournament and the Universe 6 tournament, everything Goku did in base, he's capable of. And he did in Super Saiyan God, he is now capable of in base. Keep that in mind, because Vegeta is equal base to that same Goku, or at least relative to it. And that Super Saiyan God Goku is universal. So when people talk about Solar System Buster, nigga, Kaba does that in his base form casually. Like, them niggas didn't even need to transform up until now. And he might just slap all of DBZ. Fuck around and call him a Pride Trooper too.
Before you slow people start talking and saying Super Saiyan 2 is stronger than base Vegeta, you do get something called scaling. People get stronger. It's like saying base form Goku from the Cell Saga is the same strength as base form Goku in Dragon Ball Super. With that information being said, you could say he's even stronger than Dragon Ball Z's Mystic Gohan. Not Dragon Ball Super's, but Dragon Ball Z's Mystic Gohan. So what's all the debate going on yesterday? Super Saiyan.
Let's read these comment section. Okay, he basically saying, okay, Vegeta also has a new base form from having been Super Saiyan God. Everyone forgets their new base forms turns their universal base form now. So he's basically saying the same thing I said. And then you take into account that Kaba achieved Super Saiyan 1, which would put him equal to Super Saiyan 1 Vegeta, and then he later on achieved Super Saiyan 2 by himself. So he also has Super Saiyan 2, which is 100 times multiplier, as if in base he didn't outscale all of DBZ prior. But the only exception maybe being, there isn't even no exception, the only exception being Beerus. Like if we're talking about DBZ characters, the only person that surpassed him is Beerus. I was gonna argue Buhan because he also threatened to destroy the universe, but that's an overtime feat. And on top of that, again, Goku and them should be doing that in their base form, and he has Super Saiyan 2. So like, it still outscales that. Yeah, probably split a stick, but he can kick ass. He said can, not does, dumbass. And he still does kick ass. Like, he kicked a lot of people's ass in the Tournament of Power. The only reason he lost in the Universe 7 tournament is because his opponent was Vegeta. But Vegeta beats most people in the story. Still. You say that as if that version of Vegeta wouldn't no diff go on. He said a lot of goofy shit. I don't even go continue to read that dude comments. No cap, that's cap LOL. Literally, because the power difference between Z and Super is very, very massive. That's not cap, it's actual facts. Off topic, that hat clean as fuck. Jet tripping. Nah, you tripping. For real, is. Me or the video? You. Base. No. No. It's a dumb take. No, it's not. See? You smart. It's not even a take, it's straight fact. Guys, let's remember that this Gohan is from the Cell Saga. The Cell Saga. Like, yeah, and like most shows not even most shows, some shows you can get away with arguing just because times progressed doesn't mean certain characters got stronger. In a show that's literally about fighting, there is an end for Saiyans, like they actually just get stronger after getting their ass beaten after every fight and every training session. There is no arguing that the niggas in the next season, the next arc, aren't supposed to be stronger than the last. Hell, a good indicator of this is you go straight into the Frieza Namek saga. Most of Frieza's army, like his regular basic soldiers, are stronger than niggas like Nappa and Raditz, who are considered elite. Well, Raditz isn't considered elite, but Nappa's considered elite. But he's fodder to a lot of niggas in Frieza's army. Like most niggas in Frieza's army, if I'm being completely honest. Based off power levels and feat and scaling. So that showed that even the low tier niggas from the very next arc had surpassed the top tier niggas from the previous arc. Another example. Going straight into the Namek saga. Android Dr. Gero and Android 19, as fodder as they seem to Goku, they low-key outscale Frieza, and they aren't even the two big bads of the arc. They're the inciting incident. Literally. They are the inciting incident, and they're stronger than the strongest version of Frieza at that point in the story. Because he was giving a stronger, more trained, and more seasoned Super Saiyan Goku trouble. And then it's actually stated that by the time Vegeta achieved Super Saiyan, he had surpassed Goku, or had at least reached that level. And then he basically mid-diff 19 and was going to continue on to no-diff and Dr. Gero, who are both stronger than Frieza. So literally Vegeta, in the matter of the training between the 3-year time skip, he manages to surpass Frieza. By a lot. And then you skip to the very next set of androids, and then you find out that androids 17 and 18, the ones he wanted to activate, can no-diff him. Meaning that they actually might just one-shot every form of Frieza up until that point. Dead ass. They would just one-shot Frieza. And Frieza was literally the pinnacle of the universe at that point. Keep in mind, they're not even the main villains of that arc. They're the stepping stones for the main villain, who is Cell. And Cell was still stronger than it by a lot. And then by the time he absorbed them, he becomes so much stronger that they weren't even relevant anymore. And then Gohan is matching him. So why do you think in the very next arc, the only person that is ever stated to not get stronger in between arcs is Gohan? And why is Gohan the only person that ever stated that? Because after the Cell Saga, he goes through multiple time periods for years where he does not train at all. So yeah, his power stayed stagnant the entire time, if not got weaker. But because he doesn't train and he hadn't been in any combat scenarios, his combat ability, like his techniques, have dulled. So on top of probably getting physically weaker since his last time, he's not even as battle seasoned or adept because he has not been keeping up with it. None of the other Saiyans do that. Especially not Vegeta, and we see definitively that Vegeta makes massive leaps and bounds over previous forms, even in his base. By the time he fights Kaba, and Kaba's actually stronger than his base form, because he actually made Vegeta go Super Saiyan, and then Vegeta taught him to go Super Saiyan, and then he still continued to put hands on Vegeta. So, like, no. But I don't know, man. But let's get into this. Can Sasuke defeat the entire Akatsuki? My short take before we get into this fight, or this video, yeah, I think Sasuke got that in the back. I think he can.
Going over Sasuke versus the entire Akatsuki. Obviously, we're not going to be talking about adult Sasuke or even like teenage Sasuke with the Rinnegan or the Six Pack. Nah, we're going to be talking about Sasuke with the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, also known as EMS. Now, I bet some of y'all are thinking to yourself, like, how could Sasuke with the EMS solo the entire Akatsuki like he was less impressive than Itachi was during their fight with Kabuto, right? But I have gathered a lot of evidence over the past few days so that I can prove to you that Sasuke does have a chance at soloing the entire Akatsuki. Now, like I said, I did put a lot of work into this video, so consider subscribing to the channel. And if you want to hang out with me and other creators on the daily, join the Discord server, link in the description. But other than that, let's just get right into the video. So the way that we're going to break this down is first I'm going to go over Sasuke's notable feats and statements during his time with the EMS. Then after this, I'm going to briefly touch on each member of the Akatsuki, like what their abilities are, stuff like that. And then at the very end, I'm going to be putting it all together and explaining my thesis on Sasuke might possibly be able to solo the Akatsuki, right? So like I said, let's just start off with Sasuke. We're going to be rewinding the clock a little bit before EMS to Taka Sasuke when he first got the Mangekyo Sharingan, right? Even though he's still a little bit injured from his fight with Itachi, he's able to react to and dodge version 1B, right? And B actually says to himself, he's like, bro, he's the first one to dodge me in this form since my elder brother, right? Who's the fucking fourth Raikage. Also, B says to himself that Sasuke is the toughest opponent he's ever faced, which would include Minato, because back in the Third Great Shinobi War, fucking B fought Minato like several times, right? It's stated that they clashed together very, very often, right? So that means that Minato was never able to dodge version 1B, and Taka Sasuke was a tough...
Battery dead. shit's up. I had to fix some shit.
For opponent than Minato at that point. That could just be some crazy hyperbolic statement, but it is some crazy statements, I'm telling you. Also, his Amaterasu was able to engulf the entire 8 tails, even though it is like in a very, very early stage of the Mangekyo Sharingan. At this point, he's not even able to use Susanoo, so I just thought that was worth mentioning. Now, in the 5 Kage Summit, Sasuke gets even more impressive. Karin states that fucking Sasuke's chakra is more dense and like cold than the fucking curse mark was, so he's definitely stronger than his old heavy Sasuke self by now. Also, he's relative to version 1 Raikage's combat speed and can react to version 2 Raikage with Susanoo and Inton. His Chidori is also able to pierce the Raikage's lightning armor, which is actually insane. Everybody knows how durable the Raikage is, and Sasuke is just able to just cut straight through it with Chidori. And the fact that he's already reaching these Raikage speeds, almost KCM 1 tier speeds, all the way back in the 5 Kage Summit is actually kind of insane. Now, I know we're talking about EMS Sasuke, but I just felt like those feats were like worth mentioning. You know, now we can actually move on to early EMS Sasuke during his fight with Kabuto, right? So as soon as he gets the EMS, like right after he implants Itachi's eyes, both his ninjutsu and his dojutsu is stated to surpass Itachi. That means that all of his ocular abilities and all of his ninjutsu abilities are better than Itachi's, just straight up. That means like all Sharingan Genjutsu abilities, Susanoo, Amaterasu, even the fucking fireball technique, right? All of that would be better than Itachi's, right? And to prove this, his MS Jutsu, like his basic MS Genjutsu, is Tsukuyomi level, right? So this might sound kind of crazy to some of y'all, but if you remember back in the Kabuto fight, Sage Kabuto had like the abilities of the Sound 4, and he used Taiyuya's Flute Genjutsu on both Sasuke and Itachi, and they had to break each other out of the Genjutsu by looking into each other's eyes and placing each other in Genjutsu, right? Now, Sasuke just used his basic MS Genjutsu, right? But Itachi had to use Tsukuyomi, right? There was no reason why he wouldn't use his strongest Genjutsu if it wasn't absolutely necessary, right? So with this, it implies that Itachi wouldn't have been able to use ephemeral or like basic Sharingan Genjutsu to break out of Taiyuya's flute, right? But he was forced to use Tsukuyomi while Sasuke is just using his basic MS Genjutsu to break Itachi out, right? So that should prove that Sasuke's basic Genjutsu and Tsukuyomi are on a comparable level. To support this, way back in the 5 Kage Summit, he was like scaring the shit out of the Raikage's A's with just a fucking simple Genjutsu. Like he's terrorizing these normal fucking Jonin, right? He's like putting the fear of God into them. Also, during his fight with B, even further back, he placed him under Genjutsu and was able to completely paralyze him. Like, B could not move. That is insane to me. Also, by the end of the Kabuto fight, Sasuke is stated to rival Edo Itachi, who might be relative to early KCM1 Naruto in terms of combat speed, since they were able to like swap hands with each other, right? So definitely by now, even in his very, very early state, EMS Sasuke is already rivaling, if not completely surpassing Itachi. So that was early EMS Sasuke, just like right when he got his new Sharingan, right? He's very new. He's not very experienced with him yet. So now we can move on to experienced EMS Sasuke, right? This would be after the Kabuto fight and beyond, right? So experienced EMS Sasuke got amps from the Hokage, the desire to become a Hokage, and after reuniting with Team 7, right? So these were various mental amps and resolve amps that will greatly buff his overall stats, right? It's shown that mental amps are very, very strong in Naruto, as seen with the Will of Fire. That's like described as Hiruzen to like just the will to protect your own village and fight for your people can amp people beyond their normal strength, right? It makes them much, much stronger. So this is like similar to what Sasuke got from here, right? It's stated that all hatred and doubt in his mind was erased, and his only goal was becoming Hokage so that he could change the world and like make everybody basically pay for what they did to Itachi. And because of this, immediately after arriving on the battlefield, he is shown to be relative to MKCM Naruto. Just so you know, MKCM Naruto is like a much stronger form than just normal KCM1. MKCM stands for like Mastered KCM, right? So Naruto at this point has gotten much, much more experience with the Kurama Chakra. Actually, at this point, Kurama is now lending him help. He's no longer just trying to steal the chakra from the Nine Tails. So he is much, much stronger. It is shown that Naruto progresses over time with the Kurama chakra, he's able to get much, much stronger just by existing in that form. So he would scale higher than Edo Itachi at this point, because Edo Itachi is shown to be relative to a very early and fatigued KCM1 Naruto. But Sasuke, immediately after arriving on the battlefield, is relative to mastered KCM1 Naruto. So my reasoning for this is whenever Team 7 stands together, they're supposed to be all relative to each other and equal to each other and like strength and all that
panels that show Sasuke
stuff.
His Sharingan, like his base Sharingan, like 3 Tomoe isn't even activated. So I think that's
so you may be able to argue that like Sakura wasn't really on their level yet, but that's besides the point, right? The point is at that very moment, EMS Sasuke was equal to MKCM Naruto, but right after this, he actually surpasses Naruto by a lot. For example, right after Sakura awakens the 100 healings Byakugo seal, she pulls up, she's getting kind of confident and cocky, and she doesn't realize that 2 of the big-ass Jubi monsters are standing right behind her, and they're about to kill her, I guess. So Naruto and Sasuke both rush to save her. Naruto throws a Rasen Shuriken, and Sasuke just throws like a bunch of Intuan at the 2 respective monsters. Now, the one closer to Sakura is hit by Sasuke, and the one farther away is hit by Naruto. And it's shown that Sasuke's Intuan actually pushes back the monster farther than Naruto's. It not only gets there quicker, but it pushes it back farther than Naruto's. So that means that Sasuke's Intuan is more effective and more powerful than a fucking Rasen Shuriken. I will throw the panel up on screen right now so you know exactly what I mean. Sasuke's Jubi monster was in front of Naruto's, yet it gets pushed farther back. That means that Intuan is more potent than a fucking Rasen Shuriken from MKCM Naruto. That's actually insane to me, and there's nothing in the series to prove otherwise, I promise you. So right after Team 7 and all the other Shinobi Alliance people fight the Jubi monsters, obviously Obito becomes the Jubi Jinchuriki, right? So first, Obito is unstable because he hasn't had his mental resolve amp yet, and he hasn't gotten full control over the Jubi, right? But unstable Jubito is stated to be stronger than Hashirama, right? And he actually, Jubito blitzes all of the Hokage in his unstable form. Yet, Sasuke is able to...
Not gonna lie, I think that only applies to Edo Hashirama. Also, I don't know if it technically counts as a blitz because Tobirama technically reacted to him when he slapped him with the tandem paper bombs.
physically react to this Jubito and block his True Seeker orbs with his fucking Susanoo in order to protect Naruto. Right? I will throw the panel up on screen. You can clearly see Sasuke reacting to the same Jubito that blitzed Hashirama, Tobirama, and fucking Hiruzen, right? It's insane that Sasuke has this physical reaction speed at this point in the series. So obviously, like right after this, like I said before, Jubito gains control over the actual Jubi, and now he's like a perfect Jinchuriki, right? So now we start moving into what I like to call peak EMS Sasuke. There's early EMS, experienced EMS, and peak. Peak is just so crazy. It's the height of his power. It's where the really, really crazy scaling comes from, right? So, the first thing that he does is wrap his Susanoo around MKCM Naruto to protect him from a True Seeker orb before Naruto or KCM Minato can react. So, for context, like, Minato got his arm chopped off and he had to, like, kind of run away from Jubito, but Jubito had already attached the True Seeker orb to him and he was about to make it explode, right? Immediately after this, Sasuke sees the True Seeker orb and wraps his Susanoo around Naruto to protect him, and Minato is still like, oh my god, I have to teleport this thing. So, he actually outreacts Minato with his fucking Susanoo, right? Obviously, then Tobirama has to come in and save the group, right? And then he teleports the True Seeker orb behind Jubito. But it's actually crazy that EMS Sasuke was able to outreact Casey and Minato. Speaking of Minato, he seemingly believes that Sasuke is more impressive than Naruto, right? I'll throw the scans up on screen. Minato is clearly shown being like, man, Sasuke sure is strong. He's like a really bright kid. And then whenever Naruto like goofs up, he's like ashamed of Naruto. He's like embarrassed. Like Tobirama's saying to Naruto, like, you're such a fucking goofball that even your father is embarrassed of you. And then like Minato standing out to the side, he's like, yeah, sorry, Naruto. So he actually, for a point in time, Minato actually believes Sasuke is like more powerful and more impressive than fucking Naruto, which is actually insane. So once the group figures out that Senjutsu is actually a really big counter to Jubito, Naruto enters like KCM2 Sage mode, right? And this is the point where like, oh, he's completely surpassed Sasuke, right? Like Sasuke isn't even on this level, right? But Naruto had to get like chakra from Minato, right? He needed more chakra, so Minato actually gave all of his chakra to Naruto so that he could supply that KCM2 Sage mode form, right? So it's actually shown that Minato gave so much chakra, so much of the Kyuubi's chakra to Naruto that he actually has to leave KCM. Like, he can't stay in KCM anymore. Like, all of his chakra just goes straight to Naruto. So, Naruto has perfect Sage mode and an entire Kyuubi amp, right? Because Minato gave Naruto all of the Kyuubi chakra that he had, and Naruto still has the Kyuubi inside of him. So, he has the entire Kyuubi amp, right? And Sage mode. Yet Sasuke is still shown to be attacking at similar speeds to KCM2 Sage Naruto, even though Sasuke has a weaker form of Senjutsu, right? His Senjutsu is actually being supplied by Jugo, right? And obviously we know that like the curse mark is basically a knockoff Sage mode. It's not the real deal, right? Orochimaru just made that shit to copy Sage mode. It's like, it's not even the real thing, right? So Sasuke has a weaker form of Sage mode, yet he is still keeping up with Naruto with a full Kyuubi amp, which is actually insane. So obviously, like, we're not going to allow Sasuke to have Jugo supplying him with Senjutsu during this fight. All this would mean is that Sasuke would scale higher than late KCM2 Naruto, like without Sage mode, obviously, right? This is all that means. Without the Kyuubi amp and without Sage mode, Sasuke would just be stronger than KCM2 Naruto. It's just as blatant as that. As a matter of fact, immediately after this happens, when Sasuke combines Senjutsu with his Susanoo, Tobirama and Orochimaru compare him to Prime Madara. And I'm not even lying. Here is the scan of Tobirama. He's like, yeah, Sasuke, he's showing the same potential as Madara once did. This dude is insane. And then Orochimaru deadass states that throughout my entire years of observing people and everything like that, I am sure that you will soon surpass Madara, which is actually crazy. It's actually crazy that
Sasuke on that Orochimaru window. Up until now, the nigga never even met Madara, so look, he wouldn't know. Well, actually, that's not true. Because he would have been alive and in Elite Village around the time that Madara was alive. That's lucky crazy. So he might have a vague idea of who Madara is and how powerful he once was.
Yeah, at this point in the series is being compared to Prime Madara. Immediately, like after this, after Jubito kind of beats them up a little bit, Sasuke awakens the perfect Susanoo while performing majestic attire. Right, a lot of you don't actually believe that Sasuke had the perfect Susanoo at this point in time, but the armor pattern on Sasuke's Susanoo is identical to Madara's. Right, it's identical, and it is stated that the armor of the perfect Susanoo is unique and exclusive only to that form of the Susanoo. None of the other versions have that armor. It's unique, right? So, like, Sasuke has to have unlocked the perfect Susanoo during this time. Also, Hashirama recognizes it. Sasuke says to himself, he's like, I believe this is what Madara did once before. And then you see the armor, like, wrapping around the Kyuubi avatar, and Hashirama's like, what the fuck? That's the perfect Susanoo, right? He says it to him, so, like, he's, like, thinking in his head, like, oh my god, what is that? Right? He recognized it, which is actually insane. So Sasuke does have the perfect Susanoo before he even gets the Rinnegan or the Six Paths. After they defeat Jubito,
just like
Sasuke
Madara,
is able...
and again, just like the 3 separate statements that exist in that same arc. Even Kurama back in, what was that? The Tenchi Bridge arc says that Sasuke, he displays the same potential and traits that Madara once did. And that was all the way back in early Shippuden that they were comparing Sasuke to Madara's potential, or him possibly being able to get to that level. Which, oddly enough, also stems back to the fucking Final Valley when Sasuke was talking about Madara to Naruto. So Sasuke even has some vague idea of what Madara was or what he stood for. Because everybody knows that they was just some strong ass niggas. So like, give credence to it. So like, Sasuke isn't. It wouldn't be far fetched to assume that in that moment, like even if you ignore the pattern, it wouldn't even be far fetched of an idea to say he could even possibly obtain the perfect Susanoo with just the EMS, because Madara did it. But honestly, I think Sasuke shows greater potential than Madara because Madara didn't achieve all of this shit until his late adulthood or early mid adulthood. Sasuke's doing all of this shit at the age of 16, 17 years old. Which means he's a lot younger than Madara while performing the same, if not almost similar feats. Which is crazy.
To stab blind Sage Madara and is relative to him in combat speed. Like he's keeping up with him and he's able to actually stab him through the arm. A lot of people do say that like Madara let himself be stabbed, but if you reread the chapter or rewatch it, I don't care. Like you can see that there is no reason why Madara would let himself be stabbed here. There is absolutely no reason. That's not necessarily true. Maybe in that instance, I think you could argue either way. This right here is just up to your interpretation, and I honestly don't care. Me personally, I like to upscale characters to make it more consistent, especially make it more consistent with the Storm games. And you might think that's bullshit, but the Storm games are like the story is based off the actual series, and I'm pretty sure there's a statement that says all of their powers in the games they could do in the show. It's just they didn't write that to happen because the story, or maybe they didn't think of the particular abilities at the time, but then by the time the game came out, they was like, well, he should be able to do XYZ, so we'll let him do XYZ. So there are a lot of feats that they make in the Storm games are indicative to the show. I don't think it's a one, especially like when you're just counting the story mode. Because even though it didn't happen, it shows what would have happened because the Storm game is supposed to be more of a quick action playthrough of the story. So like the shit in Storm 3 where Sasuke and Naruto were fighting on the bridge, that fatigued Sasuke and they going at it, going crazy. That is how the fight would have portrayed it, and that's very obvious by the fact that this fatigue base Sasuke Chidori clashed and cancels out with Naruto
full power based Naruto's Rasengan. So that means that if they were to go at it, they would be relative to each other. And like Naruto said, if they would fight all out, they would die. They would both die. Which is very indicative of that scene. So even though that shit didn't happen in the manga or anime, it very well could have. And that was just their excuse of writing it because it didn't happen in the story.
Right after this, he actually...
But then again, Madara does make the statement that he does let himself become careless because he has Hashirama cells. So like, you could just as easily argue that. But then again, the other counter for it is because he clearly wasn't trying to let Sasuke hit him prior to that. I think that statement probably really only applies to when he fought All 9 Biju, if I'm being completely honest. Because he's actively trying to avoid Sasuke for the majority of him swinging off him until he did land that. But he didn't do that with the tail beast. He just kind of jumped in the air. And then they did that thing. He came back and didn't really do shit. He literally just overpowered them. So I'd hardly call him the same. That's why I say I don't really care how you interpret it. Either way, you could argue that in this particular moment, he was trying to avoid Sasuke, but couldn't. But you could just as easily make the argument that he didn't really care either way. Which doesn't really change the fact that Sasuke did it and nobody else on the battlefield did or could have. Other than maybe Naruto.
Runs away to go like take down the Biju, right? So he doesn't even fight Sasuke really. He just like kind of gets stabbed and he's like, oh damn. To back this up even further, like Madara says to Sasuke, he's like, damn, you have really good eyes and your moves are really good. Maybe it would be a good idea if I were to take your eyes until I get my Rinnegan back. Which means that Madara is like comparing his own eyes to Sasuke's, which is actually insane, right? This form of Madara is physically stronger and faster than his prime form or his Edo form due to having Sage Mode and Hashirama cells, right? So he would be physically stronger and faster than any of his other versions at this point. Once again, Madara believes Sasuke's dojutsu is comparable to his own, right? This isn't the first time that Madara has actually compared Sasuke's eyes to his own. He says something to Hashirama about it once. He actually says something later on, right before he kills Sasuke and everything like that. So it's very, very obvious that Sasuke is approaching Madara in terms of power here, right? Actually, to complement this, Hashirama actually believes that Sasuke is the only one who can defeat Revive Madara. Right? He says to Sasuke, he's like, come here, I'm going to give you a jutsu and a little bit of my chakra. Now go stop Madara. I believe you can take him down. Like, you're the only one that can defeat him. It's actually insane because at this point, Hashirama has already said that Madara is much stronger than his Edo form. He's like, oh, damn, he's regaining his former strength. Somebody needs to stop him. And the first person that comes to mind is Sasuke, which is actually insane to me, bro. Of course, right after this, Sasuke is defeated by Madara, but that is only because Madara has his Rinnegan back and uses Limbo on Sasuke. Sasuke has no way to counter those hacks. He couldn't see the Limbo. He didn't know it was coming. So it's really not an anti-feat for Sasuke to begin with. I just felt like I had to include that part. Now, I'm going to move on to the... Right, I'm pretty sure that nobody actually believes that like Sasuke would lose to any single member of the Akatsuki in a 1v1, but just in case, we'll go over them individually for now, right? Real quick, because like most people already know the abilities of the Akatsuki's members, so I'm not going to be explaining all of their abilities. Like, don't worry, I'm not gonna be talking about all that shit, right? So starting off with Zetsu, like Sasuke no diffed at least 16 white Zetsu as soon as he got the EMFs. Like that was the first time he ever used the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, and he just no diffed them like easily, like a whole group of them. So Zetsu's not really a big deal. Hidan is just useless in general. He's the slowest member of the Akatsuki. In all honesty, he probably dies first. I know that a lot of people might say that if they can draw blood from Sasuke, they could just like give it to Hidan, but do you really believe that they could like make Sasuke bleed before Hidan dies? I mean, that's a pretty big stretch. That's a pretty big stretch. Kakuzu is like mostly useless. He has no notable speed feats and is weak to lightning release, right? I know he has crazy raw durability, but fucking lightning release is like one of Sasuke's biggest things. So like a single Chidori would be able to kill the main Kakuzu, and the rest of the hearts are kind of fodder. They were being reacted to by early Shippuden Kakashi and fucking like base Naruto and fucking Choji. So Kakuzu is just not that big of a deal in general. Konan, we're obviously not going to be letting her have prep. That's kind of overpowered. I feel like Sasuke might be able to tank the 600 billion paper bombs with like the perfect Susanoo, but that's a topic for another day, right?
Fuck it. That's a topic for another day. Let's just make this argument. If he did truly gain the perfect Susanoo in that time period, which is the narrative we're going with, because like you said, it was the Susanoo armor. Like, you can't deny that fact. Then wouldn't by proxy Sasuke have the ability to fly with that Susanoo, since that Susanoo has wings? Or am I reaching? And if he could fly, couldn't he just avoid the paper bombs altogether? Maybe I'm reaching.
By base Jiraiya and has no notable speed feats. Her paper bombs are fucking deadly though. They were able to blow off like Obito's arm, and let me remind you that White Mask Obito was able to tank a Rasengan from KCM1 Naruto. But overall, Konan can be dealt with. Like, just one Inton would burn up her and all of her paper shit. So honestly, she's not very fast. Her paper bombs are like the only good thing that she has, but it's kind of debatable if she'd even be able to break through like a ribcage Susanoo. I bet you could make an argument for it, but like, all Sasuke needs is just like the higher forms of the Susanoo, like the armored Susanoo, and Konan literally has nothing that can touch him. Sasori is mostly useless. He doesn't have any good speed or AP feats, since he was like being reacted to by grinding Chio and like early Shippuden Sakura. I'm sorry. And also, Sasuke is immune to poison. Kakashi states that he still has Orochimaru's poison immunity way back when Sakura tried to poison him at the bridge. So like, Sasori's poison wouldn't even work on Sasuke. Also,
I don't know about that one though. That's an iffy statement from Kakashi. Yeah, I guess it kind of gives credence to your argument, but the one counter argument I can make for it is that we don't know if Kakashi knows that he lost Orochimaru in the curse mark. But then I'll just have to throw an asterisk on my argument. How did he, and did he ever even know that Sasuke absorbed Orochimaru in the first place? Because technically none of them actually ever met or seen Sasuke prior or after the Tenchi Bridge, all the way up until the 5 Kage Summit. Which means that none of them would have been present or heard about the fact that he absorbed Orochimaru. The only thing they would know is that he killed Orochimaru, which was widespread. But nobody knew that he practically Uno reverse ate Orochimaru. Nobody but Itachi. Maybe Kakashi could tell with his Sharingan. So I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, but I just suppose that there is an argument that could be made.
Orochimaru like studied the entire Akatsuki, and Kabuto was a spy for them, so it's kind of a stretch to say that like Orochimaru wouldn't have immunity to all poisons, especially Sasori, since it's like his main fucking ability. Also, the third Kazekage is like the only real threat, since it's supposedly stronger than Gaara and Rasa, but that's honestly not saying that much. Gaara isn't the strongest out of the 5 Kage to begin with. I feel like, I'm not trying to downplay Gaara here, but honestly, I just don't feel like that's the biggest threat for Sasuke at this point in time. Just the puppet army gets no diff in general. Like, all those 100 puppets are just going to be fodder. I'm telling you right now, they're not going to be able to do a thing to that. Moving on to Deidara, he got beat by a weaker and slower Sasuke, and probably would do more harm than good, because like his explosives would affect his teammates as well. So he might just end up taking out like most of his teammates if he does his really big explosions. Obviously, C2 is a pretty big deal, like the dragon is cool and all, but Sasuke already knows how to counter it. Same with C4 and C0. I bet C0 could probably be fucking tanked by the perfect Susanoo as well, so I doubt that there's much Deidara could do. Fucking Pain might just tell him to sit on the sidelines. He's gonna be, hey bro, you're gonna be you're gonna be blowing all of this up, bro. You better go like fucking. You're benched for the rest of the fucking match, and then Dater is just gonna like go fly away somewhere. He's not a big threat. So as you can see, most of the low and mid tiers of the Akatsuki don't really even have anything that they could do to Sasuke in general at this point. They just would honestly get speed blitzed. But we can move on to like the top tiers now. Kisame fights on par with version 2B, and that's honestly kind of crazy because that would mean that he's like the fastest in the Akatsuki at this point in time because nobody else really has scaling to that level. Water Dome would be a pretty big threat unless Sasuke uses Perfect Susanoo, obviously. Samehada is also a threat because it's able to take at least 6 tails worth of Bijou Chakra at once, as seen in the fight with Killer B, but that might only be because Killer B wears his chakra on the outside, like the chakra is pouring out of him. Maybe it's easier for Samehada to steal chakra that way. But Kisame is a pretty, like, he's, honestly, I feel like he'd do the best out of all the members in the Akatsuki. He'd be like the most useful, which is actually kind of crazy because he's not even like top 3. But also the shark form is pretty crazy as well, but it's kind of only useful in the water. And if he does pull out the water dome, then Perfect Susanoo, GG. So, like, Kisame would be the biggest threat out of the Akatsuki in my opinion. But, like, he still scales to, like, version 2B, while Sasuke would just scale much, much higher than that to, like, late KCM2 Naruto, fucking Prime Madara, and Hashirama. So there's really nothing that Kisame has on that level at this point in time. So moving on to Sick Itachi, like I said, he was surpassed by early EMS Sasuke. He did swap hands with fatigued early KCM1 Naruto, but that was in his Edo form. It's questionable to say that he'd be able to even do that in his live form, especially with his blindness and his like fucking cancer or his fucking AIDS or whatever he has. So honestly, he never really replicated those same feats when he was alive. He doesn't have any scaling while alive that could prove he'd be able to do the same things in Edo. So he like, honestly, in my opinion, he doesn't even scale to Edo Itachi. Like, even with the Edo nerf, the buffs that he got from that were just insane, right? He basically got Eternal Mangekyo.
No, he didn't, because the Eternal Mangekyo was an amp. He just got his base Mangekyo fully restored. The only thing that makes it similar to the Eternal Mangekyo is the fact that he has infinite chakra. But the Eternal Mangekyo doesn't even give you infinite chakra. It just makes it reduce the amount of chakra you waste. And as for another thing, that the whole thing doesn't actually amp his Sharingan or his Mangekyo Sharingan. Getting the Mangekyo Sharingan or the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan does amp it. Like, it's blatantly stated that all of the abilities just get stronger. So the only thing you could really argue is his blindness got removed and his sickness got removed, which would mean that he can move and probably do jutsu more freely. So yeah, it does make him stronger. But again, that all of that is still being asterisked by the fucking Edo nerf. The Edo nerf is pretty massive, so you can still make the argument that they could very well be equal or relative to alive, just with better physical conditions.
He didn't have cancer anymore, and he had unlimited chakra and stamina, which was like his biggest weakness before. Also, the Tosca Blade has no speed feats that could say it would be able to even touch EMS Sasuke to begin with. It stabbed Orochimaru, who, like,
I don't know, it blitzed Nagato and Orochimaru.
Really wasn't trying to move. He kind of just laughed it off at first until he realized that it was a Tosca Blade. And Nagato kind of just scales to like early KCM1 Naruto and B at the same time. So, I mean, it's not even that fast to begin with. Moving on to Obito, we're going to be talking about him with the orange mask. Like, white mask Obito really isn't even part of the Akatsuki. Most of them are dead at that point in time. I'm pretty sure actually all of them are dead by then. So Obito is like the only member of the Akatsuki when he's in the white mask. I feel like that doesn't really count. So we're going to be talking about orange mask Obito. He has no good speed feats and he doesn't scale to white mask Obito. Obviously, the Rinnegan does provide passive buffs. This is stated when Obito accredits everything that he accomplished in the war to the Rinnegan. And like, he even says himself that the sheer power of implanting both Rennegans would have made him go insane and like lose his mind entirely. So the Rinnegan does provide passive stat buffs basically. He vaguely scales above like Yellow Mask Obito, but that's kind of questionable because he's shown like no progress and no real speed feats in his Orange Mask form. Also, like Yellow Master Obito kind of got bodied by Minato. He couldn't even react to Flying Thunder God.
That's not true.
So, like, Obito just has like no really good speed feats that can prove he'd be able to even touch Sasuke at this point. Also, for those of just saying like Kamui, like suck in GG, the Kamui transfer speed is slow as fuck. I'm sorry to tell you, right? So, like, whenever Obito is trying to escape to the Kamui dimension because he just stole like some chakra from Jubidara, he was trying to go revive Naruto, who was already.
That doesn't count. Madara's actually on a whole other level than this version of Obito. Like, you're talking, like, if Madara by himself is already massively stronger than Obito, or even, like, a vaguely strong amount, like, even if he's only, like, 25% stronger than White Mask Obito, or would be, then this version of Madara would be that amped up 100-fold. Like, okay, I'm stretching it, but he would at least be double of what that was previously, because we know that Madara by himself is or should be stronger than the Ten Tails, if not relative to it. So that, yeah, his shit should be passively doubled for the sole fact that he is the Ten Tails now. So yeah. So yeah, up until then we'd never seen anybody blitz Kamui's speed. I mean, that doesn't mean Sasuke couldn't, but that doesn't actually debunk Sasuke, or that doesn't actually prove that Sasuke would be able to blitz his Kamui speed.
Like almost dead in the Kamui dimension. So Madara is trying to stop Obito from teleporting away, right? So he shoots some True Seeker orbs at him to force him to phase through the attacks because he can't suck himself in and phase at the same time. That means that the True Seeker orbs are faster than Obito's Kamui transfer speed, like his teleportation speed, right? And let me remind you that the True Seeker orbs were outsped by literally everybody, including Rock Lee, right? I don't want to downplay Rock Lee, right, because I know he has a lot of fans, but there is no way that peak EMS Sasuke is slower than Rock fucking Lee, bro. There's just absolutely no way. I'm sorry. So, like, Obito's not even going to be able to really do anything. He's just going to be forced to phase through all of Sasuke's attacks. Now, it's debatable if you think that, like, Obito has to manually turn on his phasing abilities, which is questionable. I know a lot of people wouldn't agree with it. I personally don't. But if you have this type of interpretation, then Sasuke would just straight speed blitz the fuck out of Obito. I've already proved that Obito doesn't scale to his White Mask form, who was barely keeping up with, like, KCM2 Naruto.
My take on how Kamui works is phasing happens unconsciously. Like, he doesn't control when he phases through shit. And then using Kamui, he actively has to do that.
So, like early KCM2 Naruto, and Sasuke scales above a late KCM2 Naruto, who has gotten visibly much stronger throughout the course of the war. He would just speed blitz the fuck out of Orange Mask Obito. It's as simple as that. Obito's not doing anything, I promise you. Now, moving on to the leader of the Akatsuki, we got Pain, right? Most of the paths aren't even fast. I'm sorry, bro. They're getting, like, beat up by fucking Konohamaru. Like, come on now. The Diva Path swapped hands with base Naruto. It was having trouble taking down base Naruto, right? The Ashura Path got completely blitzed from off-screen by Sage Naruto, right? It had its fucking jet rocket boosters on too, and Naruto still blitzed the fuck out of it, right? Like, these paths aren't very fast, right? Even, like, Sage Jiraiya is able to react to them, bro. They're not all that, right? Chibaku Tensei and Shinra Tensei are cool and all, but they can be tanked by the Perfect Susanoo very, very easily. If anybody says that the Perfect Susanoo would not be able to break out of that tiny-ass Chibaku Tensei, I'm sorry, bro. You need to rewatch the series, right? The only good paths would be the Ashura Path, the Animal Path, and the Diva Path. The Ashura Path, like I already said, it's slow as fuck. It's just going to get blitzed. The Animal Path is pretty cool because the summons have, like, shared vision, but we've already seen them get dealt with by Amaterasu whenever, like, Itachi used it on Nagato summons. So, fucking Sasuke, who has better Amaterasu than Itachi, this is stated, also he has Inton, so it's kind of common sense, would just be able to fucking Inton the shit out of all of the summons, right? Animal Path isn't all that. And the Diva Path was struggling with, like, Six Tails Naruto, who would be the equivalent of, like, KCM1 Naruto, because KCM1 Naruto took 6 tails worth of chakra from Kurama, so it's not even all that. Pain doesn't really do much. As a matter of fact, none of the Akatsuki members really do anything except for like Kisame and Itachi, and that's only if you think Itachi scales to or above his Edo form, right? Which is very, very questionable, right? Most of the Akatsuki aren't going to be doing anything. Like the mid tiers cannot do a thing to Sasuke's. Like the high tiers, like Obito and Pain, are just like they're going to be fodder, especially the paths of Pain that are slow as shit, right? They're not going to be able to do anything. And for the teamwork though argument, I'm sure that you guys could come up with like a lot of scenarios for the Akatsuki to win. Like maybe Pain uses Bancho Tenin to pull Sasuke in, and Itachi uses Tosca Blade. Maybe fucking Deidara does some weird, elaborate bomb scheme while working together with the other Akatsuki members. Maybe Hidan is able to survive for long enough to actually get a drop of blood from Sasuke, right? There's a lot of factors that can go into this. I'm just saying that based off the numbers that we have seen here and all of the feats shown from not only Sasuke, but the Akatsuki members as well, Sasuke would definitively win most of the time, right? This is kind of backed up because you can't really say the Akatsuki has good teamwork, right? Because in all honesty, they kind of hate each other, right? Outside of their respective duos, they don't talk to each other. They don't like each other, right? Fucking Hidan and Kakuzu like hate each other, right? Hidan does not respect Pain. He says that he wants to kill Pain, right? Fucking Deidara and Sasori kind of respect each other, but they're always getting into arguments. You know, they do have a couple combination jutsus during the war arc, but nothing that impressive. Kisame and Sekitachi have pretty good chemistry, but I can't see them doing that much to begin with. Pain and Konan also have the same type of good chemistry. Those two duos are really the only ones that are actually really going to be working together. I cannot see the whole team working together because that's just out of character for most of them. Like for Hidan to sit on the sidelines and wait for them to finally draw blood from Sasuke, that's just out of character. Hidan's the type of motherfucker to just rush in and get his head cut off, right? It's kind of as simple as that. So if you can come up with some crazy elaborate scenario to how the Akatsuki would be able to formulate a plan that would kill Sasuke, sure, that's cool. But just make sure that you realize that that is probably not within the bounds of their character. I'm just saying, Sasuke has the better speed scaling and the better AP scaling. Obviously, they have some crazy good attacks, but it's nothing that the perfect Susanoo would not be able to tank. So, honestly, Sasuke wins this. I have provided a bunch of evidence. I have done so much research on this for the past few days, collecting all of these feats. But I hope you'll agree with me. If not, let me know. Let me know why down in the comments. I really want to know why you think Sasuke wouldn't be able to beat the.
Alright, I ain't gonna lie. We gonna have to check out some of these comments. Let's see what some of the people have to say before we end stream. If it let me, I never had that shit happen before. People who think EMS Sasuke is stronger than Itachi is crazy. Nah, I ain't gonna lie, G. Nah, you crazy.
What's up, y'all? It's Logan.
There we go. Itachi is deadass just a knockoff version of EMS Sasuke. Can't be a knockoff if he was the first. Early to mid isn't that just silly? How's he a knockoff when he's the oldest? EMS is a knockoff. What healthy Itachi would be. Sure, but healthy Itachi was never a thing at that point, so people think Sasuke wasn't getting massive amps during the war. Dude was fresh out of surgery against Kabuto. I like power scaling videos, but this is clearly wank. It's not, as he constantly takes Sasuke at his peak, but he taking the feats from the Akatsuki when they were fatigued. No, he's not. What are you talking about? The whole fight Pain had against Naruto was the best showing he had in the whole show. As fatigued as Tendo was, and he wasn't even that fatigued. Not in the later half of the fight, and that was evident by the fact that his ocular powers literally came back on some Sasuke shit. So I don't think that counts as a fatigued Pain. If anything, he only fatigued himself really fighting Naruto. So that doesn't count. The Killer Bee Itachi or the Killer Bee Kisame fight, he wasn't fatigued. He literally doesn't use any fatigue feats from Itachi because all of Itachi's fights when alive, he's sandbagging and not fatigued. So he has no real feats or scaling, and then in his Edo form, he cannot be fatigued. So that's not a thing. Hidan has never been shown to be fatigued, and he's only ever just gotten his ass beat. Zetsu has never been shown to be fatigued. Who else did he bring up? Sasori was not fatigued. That was literally a full power Sasori. He didn't even fight Gaara. Datara's fight versus Sasuke, which he referenced for Datara, Datara was not fatigued and he had extra clay. And literally pulled out all of his strongest jutsu. And still lost. So that's not fatigued. Obito fighting Konan was not fatigued. Konan fighting Jiraiya was not fatigued. Konan fighting Obito was not fatigued. I genuinely don't know what you're talking about. The only version of any character you can argue that for is Pain. But even then, his feet still aren't high enough to suggest otherwise. Or to suggest that even if he was at full power, he beat Sasuke. Because again, he couldn't even hold down the fucking Nine Tails, and Sasuke is stronger than that version of Naruto. Respectfully. But I'll let you eat. Obito doesn't have speed feats. He literally saved Sasuke at the Kage Summit. Okay, we know that Obito should be relative to Hokage Minato. But he's relative to Hokage Minato and faster than Onoki, who's roughly equal to Datara. So that just proves that he's faster than Datara and Sasuke got off guarded while fatigued. That's not a speed feat for Obito. It is, but it's not. Because we already know that Obito is stronger than Datara. And faster. But I'm going to read the rest of the comment on Kage Notice. The other Kages weren't even present in the room when that happened. They showed up after the fact, so they wouldn't have known either. Minato had to resort to teleportation to defeat him. Yeah, like he does in literally every fight, even against no-name fodder shinobi, he uses teleportation. That's just in his in-character fighting style. So I wouldn't say it had to resort. He just does that. He doesn't have to. Like that one guy that Kakashi almost killed with his Chidori when he first learned it back in the third Ninja War. That nigga is not much stronger than a fatigued Kakashi. And we know that because Kakashi was able to give him some problems, him and Obito. And that they at least have to be relative to him to a degree. And Minato still used teleportation to get behind him. He didn't have to. He could have just used body flicker to blitz this nigga. He's a low tier Joni. Like the fuck? Like that's a dumb argument. Buffed EMS Sasuke would still win, but the disrespect on Obito is uncalled for. Okay. Not the worst comment, but your argument are wrong. Sasuke won't surpass all of those Kages in terms of speed, LOL. I didn't mention that. Because you can't even really scale how fast he was. Because the box form Jinton doesn't have any good feats. It doesn't. I disagree with the reason Minato gave Naruto his chakra because he was low on chakra too. the point he couldn't enter KCM2. Yeah, that one I did disagree with that. I don't know if I brought that up or not, but I did disagree with that. Or I do disagree with that. That's why he used Sage Mode before that, and Kurama even stated that he was trying to regain the chakra. Yeah. You're preaching with the EMS part, with the EMS Sasuke part. I do think the pains in Kisame are a bit more impressive than what was stated here, but overall, yes, Sasuke slams everyone unless a hypothetical peak Kisame is taken into account. Peak being the one from the guy fight at full power and with Samehada. Great video. Even then, like, yeah, that version, even then, 7th Gate guy doesn't scale to KCM2 Naruto. I don't know if y'all know this or not. 7th Gate and 6th Gate guy only scale to KCM1 Naruto. Believe it or not. Uka said Jubi Sage Mode is inferior to Naruto because the curse mark. Or Jugo Sage Mode is inferior to Naruto because the curse mark is inferior. I'm gonna correct that because Orochimaru simply emulated Jugo's Kike Genkai by creating the curse mark. Jugo's Sage Mode is Kike Genkai, not a curse mark. It's the original. If you want to compare curse mark to Jugo's Kike Genkai, you will have to power scale them as well. No, you can't. You can't do that because the Sage Mode amp isn't the same for everyone. Like, Sage Mode just wouldn't be the same for everyone because Sage Mode has to be relative to your own chakra. So Jugo's Sage Mode is only the amount of Sage energy his body intakes at any given time can only be equal to the amount of chakra he has. But that doesn't actually prove anything. So what that his curse mark is the original. That doesn't prove that it's inherently stronger because they have literally all of the exact same abilities from partial transformation to, like, even Jugo references that and he's like, whoa, he's so skilled with the curse he can even use partial transformations because that it literally derives from it. So it's not the one-to-one same thing, but you can't prove it's different. So you're just which is making an argument from absurdity. Or not absurdity, which is making an argument from ignorance, because you can't prove that either. So at best, the only thing you can do is say that it's an equal amp to Jugo, which you still can't prove is comparable to Toad Sage Mode, or Snake Sage Mode, or any of that. So it still doesn't actually change the argument, because then if you're saying that it's a stronger amp, in which that's why Sasuke can actually keep up with Naruto, then you have to prove that. But we can just lowball it since there is no official scale for it and say that it has to be relative to that. At least. And if you really want to highball the curse mark to lowball Sasuke, then you can say the curse mark is equal to, if not greater than, Sage Mode. And that's why a weaker Sasuke can keep up with that Naruto. But that's an even more absurd claim that you can't prove. But, yeah. That's my take on the video. You know what? I'm going to keep this one tabbed. We're going to react to this one later. But that's it for this stream. If y'all enjoyed that, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what y'all thoughts is. If you disagree with my takes, we can always argue it out in the comment section, or my Discord and my TikTok is open. So, yeah. Without further ado, that'll be the end of the stream. I'll catch y'all next time.